Hex Nymph here, and I don't recommend fishing Almanor without this thing. Man, this thing catches everything. One caveat though here, I brought the wrong color rabbit fur, so we're going to have to tie it in white and then dye it afterwards. Yeah, the normal color is this tan. It's light.
Pass the bug around and you can see.
Yeah, light underneath.
We're tying something to look somewhat like that bug.
That's perfect.
Light leather underneath, and then tan at the tips, and it's dyed that way. Okay, the only problem is this stuff I bought was cross-cut, so and it won't work for this pattern. So you're going to have to use your imagination a little bit while Ed colors his.
We start with this guy with the rabbit fur. If I get my hands up here, there's a zillion different ways to trim rabbit fur, but just plain cutting it in half, for those of you that might not know, is not a good idea because it cuts through the fur too. What I do is I take a bobbin and I go through like this and comb it up so that it's straight, so that the fur's standing up straight. Then I take my scissors and cut behind it. And on this case here, I'm cutting about a ½ inch or so. Now he's already got this one, the tip sharpened. I normally don't even bother with that.
I get you to walk one step back or one step forward.
So now you got a little guy sitting up there like this. And I like mono thread, so, oh boy. So that's what I'm using, but you can use tan, works just as good. This fly is super simple and quick to tie, my favorite stuff. You know, if you lose one, not a big deal. So I tie a little quick base down there, right at the bend of the hook. Let me put these things on since I'm flying blind.
Ed, what hook is that?
It's a 1 extra long, 1 or 2 extra strong, and you want it.
It's a 6.
It's size 6.
The big thing is if you use the size foam I got here, the whole idea of this fly is to have a fly that's kind of neutral buoyancy. In fact, I just saw on a new flat tire thing, some guy thought he just invented it. And I've been using this for about 5 years. But anyway, when you fish this fly, it doesn't sink down or doesn't float to the top. It just kind of hangs wherever you're at. So what I do with it, I cast it out with a sinking line, and I change the sink rates depending on how deep I'm fishing and what seems to be working. But I cast it out, let it go all the way to the bottom. These animals come from the bottom to the top when they hatch, during those hex hatches up there. And then I strip back and I pause a lot on the way up, and lots of the grabs I get are on the pauses. But of course your line starts to sink again when you pause, but I'm using like a 10 or 12 foot leader, and so the fly kind of hangs there is what I'm imagining. I'm not down there. But it works pretty good, and I've been in the middle of a lot of people that were using other flies, and I was the only guy with any fish at all, so I was convinced it works. So anyway, you tie this guy in on the top. So you got this little patch sticking out there, okay? And then take some of this foam we got here. And what I do on the foam, I cut a little point on the back of it.
Is this a demo or?
This is a demo.
Okay.
Set this guy up on the top here. Pinch it in quick. Oh, you know what I didn't pass out too? You guys probably don't have any of this in your pocket. You may need some yarn. This is really expensive stuff. You can get about 1,000 yards for $5 at the yarn shop. So save up your money and get the right stuff. This is just plain old acrylic yarn that you buy at fabric stores. And what I wanted was something that didn't change color when it got wet. And this acrylic stuff doesn't change color when it gets wet. A lot of stuff, people spend a lot of time getting exactly the right color that they want and everything. And then when it gets wet, it changes a dark out color anyway. It doesn't make any difference. I wrap all the way to the front with this guy.
Is that like a gold color?
Tie this yarn in there. Set it up on the top. Wrap my way all the way back to the back again. Gives it a little bit more bulk. And you can see what that critter looks like. I've got on that photograph. I got photographs of the actual guy.
And what's the history? Is this the one you guys invented?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I sort of worked it out with some other stuff. I'm trying to remember how to tie it now. I haven't tied it for so long.
Just cut that in half.
I wrap all the way back up to the eye. I keep this guy twisted up so it stays sort of tight, so it doesn't lay too flat. And just wrap it up to the front. Catch this guy. Do a couple wraps there. Then I spiral it back. Get this out of the road. Like I say, this is a nice, quick and dirty fly. It's not one of George's flies. Mitch gave me some legs I like better than mine, so we're going to go ahead and use his now. The ones I use, I've got little, I don't know, what do you call those things, Mitch? Centipede or something?
Yeah, centipede legs.
Tie the legs on here. I go about halfway between the point of the hook and the eye of the hook for the legs for the front. Take these guys, and I like to put them on by bending them like this. It's an easy way to position it. Position that guy on there. Take one on the other side, flip the thing over. Nice to have a rotating vise. So now you got your legs in there. Bring this guy forward, same place as the legs are. I pull that guy down. Position it where I want it. Take several wraps to keep it in there tight. Pull the legs out of the road and that out of the road, and I wrap forward about halfway to the eye. Bring it back down. Make a segment in the body. Do it again. Position that where I want it. Same thing again. Wrap it back up right up to the eye itself. Take this guy down again. Pull it in here. Several wraps on that character. And all you got to do is just put a little tension on it so it snaps back. Like that. Got a whip finisher.
Did I miss the yarn?
Say what?
Did I miss you putting the yarn on?
Yep. I'm fast. Now, if you're tying with mono like I'm doing right here, do lots of whip finishes. I really like this stuff because it doesn't affect the color of what I'm working over and stuff, but it doesn't tie very well. It'll slip loose if you're not careful. So I use that, plus I glue it. So anyway, besides, then I just eyeball what I think the legs are going to look like. And you see the real critter there. They got real sturdy legs like grasshoppers. And so I just whack those guys, get the leg I want. And then to do the back on the real animal, across the top behind his body, his gills come up like this, and in the water they wiggle. I should have taken movies of them. I had some of them in water, but I didn't. But they got a lot of activity with those gills that they have there. So what I do is I keep this fur, I just give it a little butch. Cut the top off. And then, of course, on mine I've got tan, but this is okay because the belly of them is a tan color anyway. The top is dark, as you can see on that picture right there. And then I take, now I'm using Sally Hansen's here, but I'll tell you, this stuff doesn't turn out work so good. When I used it in the water, this stuff, if I used it for a long time and caught a few fish on it, it tended to, I don't know if it came off or what happened, but I lost my cute little tail. So I put a little bit of this stuff on there.
On the tail?
On the tail. And take your fingers and kind of wrap it out, comb it out so it's a flat little thing like that. Wipe the stuff off on your Levi's to piss off your wife. And then I take this guy here and I stab it. And I pull it out because the guy's got 3 tails, okay? I'm quite sure this doesn't make a hill of beans, but it sure makes a fisherman happy. So I pick out 3 tails like that. I'll let it sit like that until it dries, okay? It looks like here I could do a little more trimming on that. Let that dry, and then if it was a tan one, I take a dark felt tip permanent marker, mark the top of them, and mark this guy right here. Can't do anything on this one until it's dried, so we'll just stop with this character. So anyway, okay, so what I end up doing is you got these 3 guys sticking out here. I eyeball what looks like about like that picture there, and I go whack, and I whack those up, okay? Now we got the 3 little legs. Shows and then you get to be artsy. What do I do with the pins? I don't have, of course, again, the pins I have, they're the right color. They're also Winchester, but I did have a few here we can try. So I just take and I just make a modelly sort of a top on here. And in this case here, I'm going to see if this, I don't know what this color is going to come out. We're going to find out. Ooh, that's a bright color. This is supposed to be a kind of a dark brown, golden color if you have the right color, but we don't, so I don't know what we're going to do here. And then the top has a little, again, this is just for fishermen. I'm not sure the fish know, but I put a little bit of tint across the top of the top, which matches what they got on our guy there. And that's it. Throw it in the water and hang on.